Well, the president says if Democrats don't want to help out on immigration, then let sanctuary cities take in illegal immigrants. Listen.
California certainly is always saying, oh, we want more people, and they want more people in their sanctuary cities. Well, we'll give them more people. We can give them a lot. We can give them an unlimited supply. And let's see if they're so happy. They say we have open arms. They're always saying they have open arms. Let's see if they have open arms.
Adam, you live in a sanctuary city, San Francisco. What do you make of what the president is saying?
I do, and I have a few thoughts. The first is it's a particularly petty thing for a president of the United States to talk about a serious topic like this in that way. Now, I know he's frustrated. A lot of people are frustrated, and he wants to pick on a city like San Francisco, which has a general policy that we should be welcoming to people and that we should do everything we can to help these people. His comments are in no way suggesting of being helpful or welcoming in any way. So as I said, he's just being petty.
All right, so obviously, respectfully take the other side of that. As much as I like Adam, I actually don't think he's being petty. He's actually signaling the way he does with his communication skills to point out the problem and the potential hypocrisy of actually having a sanctuary city. At the end of the day, there is legal and illegal immigration, and the nonsense that we have a notion in our country where we're going to be accepting illegal immigration, I don't think it's fair to the existing citizens. And one of the reasons why the president has an approval rating with the Hispanic American community above 52% is that they really feel that the people that are in line, that are doing this fairly and judiciously with the process, are the people that should be naturalized and made citizens. So I think he's right, and I think he's making a statement, and I think he's also shedding a light on some liberal hypocrisy.
And maybe calling out Democrats in the sense that you're 100 days now in the House majority, and some criticism at the retreat was, what is the Democratic strategy on the border? They have yet to have a cohesive strategy as we, line up for 2020. What is that? Do you know, Anthony, or? Yeah,
well, I think the strategy has been to block the president. Let's go back before the midterms. He was ready to cut a Dreamers Act. He just wanted the wall and some more border security. They panicked out of that situation because they didn't want to cut that Dreams Act deal prior to the midterms. They figured they would lose the House if they did that. So they ran out there. They used the S-hole comment. They tried to use identity politics, labeling as a racist. But he's actually not a racist. And if you look at the unemployment numbers for the African-American community and the Hispanic American community, the main reason why they're as low as they are has to do with what he did at the border. He took 85% of the illegal immigrants off of the charts at the border. And I don't understand why that's a big deal.
Well, I want to get back in, but I know that Gary wants to talk first.
Go ahead.
Thanks, Adam. You're a great co-moderator. In fact, I was going to ask you a question. So, the first responding, I guess Anthony kind of made this point a little bit. I don't think it's unfair or petty for a president to rail against an illegal act, which you would agree that the immigrants, by definition, illegal immigrants is an illegal act. But I want to throw a question back to you because I've been studying this economically. And economically, not societally or socially or anything like that, immigrants, illegal or otherwise, have a net positive to our economy. For example, they contribute almost 13 billion a year to Social Security that they can't get. But my question to you is, because you're in San Francisco, do you see any effects, positive or negative, either personally or what you read in the Chronicle, of these illegal immigrants? That gets right down to the bottom line, I think.
Well, so I'll answer you. I will. The issue here, this is political. I think for the president to suggest a specific policy, which is probably illegal. Anthony said he's making a communications point. That is the point. That's all he's making, is a communications point. Because a president shouldn't suggest, oh, well, we're going to take these people and we're going to punish some community whose policies I don't like. We're going to send them there. Gary, to answer your question, I mean, anecdotally, San Francisco itself does not have a big problem with illegal immigration. The illegal migrants are in places like the Central Valley where they're working on farms and whatnot. So this is really in my city, at least, my impression is it's a political issue. This is not an economic issue.
Well, it's a political. It's been a political issue
city.
for years. I mean, let's face it. That's the bottom line. But more than that, I mean, to bring up the legal issue, sanctuary cities are violating federal law.
I wanted to answer that.
Hold on a second. Hold on a second.
Yeah.
By definition, sanctuary cities are violating federal law. We have federal statutes against the criminal behavior of illegal immigrants that come in here, and sanctuary cities say they don't apply. I mean, it's as if Alabama was to say, you know, we decide that we're going to have a sanctuary city for segregation. There's a federal law that prevents that from happening, but they say, no, we want to do that. I mean, you would be against that, Adam, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I was. That's the part I forgot to address. I agree. It's this form of civil disobedience, if you will, over a policy we disagree with.
No,
it is illegal.
David, I disagree. That is not how this nation is built. The nation is not built that federal law is the override. We're not a kingdom here. We're a confederation of states.
No, but federal law trumps
I kind of
state
agree with
law.
Adam. The states have rights. That's why we're a federalist society and not a, like I say, a kingdom ruled by a monarchy as the president.
Hold on a second. I got to jump in because every constitutional scholar would tell you that federal law trumps state law. I understand we're a republic, and that's a great thing. But federal law does trump state law.
Well, we're in disagreement.
I happen to agree with David. I mean, the federal government has the right where there is federal law to enforce it, and I wish that we could reach an agreement on this. The response is not for the president to suggest in response something that's illegal and also petty with his comments. It's not constructive.
But I guess the only thing I want to ask Adam is that you said that it was punishing them. If they have a law that is allowing for sanctuary cities, and repeatedly the mayor and the governor has said we welcome all of these people, how is that punishing them if on the books and records of the state and the city is the acceptance of these illegals?
The solution to the crisis at the border right now is not to funnel more people to a city 1,000 miles or several hundred miles north of the border. That's confusing matters, and it's not helpful.
So what is helpful?
There's all sorts of things that would be helpful. I mean, I'll tell you another thing that isn't helpful. No, I'll give you an example. Cutting off hundreds of millions of dollars to the countries where the problem is beginning, not Mexico. I'm talking about El Salvador, Guatemala, and Honduras. That's not helpful. So you want a suggestion?
I mean,
get the foreign aid going again.
Go ahead, Laura.
I'm actually, Anthony, I'm curious why you do agree with cutting off aid to those countries.
No, not cutting off aid. I think the president's making a mistake on that, actually. I think he's got to fund those countries consistent with the good neighbor policy that started with Franklin Roosevelt. And it's very simple. That aid will prevent migration. The same way... No, but it really has, though. If you look at the statistics, I can prove it to you. I mean, we don't have enough time on a television show, but the aid down into those countries... Yeah, you know what? That's something I actually agree with. David Urban, myself, a lot of friends of the president.
You know, I got to disagree with you on that one. I covered the region for a while, and I saw all that aid money going into the pockets and the Swiss bank accounts of the corrupt officials that control those governments. I mean, let's face it, they're banana republics, and the money is stolen. A lot of the money that goes into these aid programs is stolen.
There's truth to that, too, but there could be better scoring on it now, David, than there was, 10 or even 15 years ago. But listen, it's a complicated problem, but I think the president's making a point. We have to reduce illegal immigration. It's better for the economy, and it's better for U.S. citizens.
And he's playing hardball. I mean, with the aid situation, if you look at the border, it's overwhelmed. The border agents can't handle the influx of the detention centers can't handle it. So in a sense, he's saying, you can't deal with it. We'll send them to these sanctuary cities because apparently you're more welcoming than everybody else in a sense for illegal immigrants. So you deal with getting your city overwhelmed.
Exactly. And there's one other point I want to make. Everyone here on this panel, to be quite honest, does not feel or touch or is probably affected on a daily basis by illegal immigrants. I think Adam lives on that cross curvy street where the townhomes go for $1 zillion. He never sees an illegal immigrant. So I feel for those cities on the border and in Texas that do have the influx of illegal immigrants, and the schools and crime are affected. You even alluded to as much. Adam.
I was trying to make that point.
The problem is out in the valley, so it's easy for you to say, oh, let's be welcome and do all this stuff.
Well, I think it would be helpful if more Americans said, let's be welcome and let's have a welcoming attitude. And I think the president is having just the opposite effect right now.
But Adam, we're having 100 that we haven't had an influx. We haven't an influx of illegal immigration in this country for decades, like we're having right now. I mean, this is an emergency at the border. So you